Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a beast of a watch, the Breitling Super Avenger, reference A13370. This is a watch that was kindly given to me for this review by a friend of mine. A very nice collectible Breitling watch. It's not just a timepiece, it's a mini wrist tank built for those who love to make a big impression. We're going to look at every little detail, so get comfy. We'll break down its dimensions, explore the features, and give you a quick history lesson on Breitling. And don't worry, we'll also zoom in super close to see the craftsmanship and whether it holds up under intense scrutiny, the type that makes you question if you're a watch enthusiast or just have too much time on your hands. And if you're still window shopping for your next watch, stick around until the end for some alternative options. Who knows, you might find the one. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the Super Avenger, let's rewind a bit. Breitling was founded way back in 1884 by Leon Breitling, this guy here on the screen with a mustache. He lived in Saint-Imier, Switzerland. That's where he founded the brand and later had his factory there. And let me tell you, this little Swiss town has more watchmaking history packed into it than a collector's display case. Saint-Imier isn't just home to Breitling. It's the birthplace of other big name brands like Longines, Tag Heuer and Mont Blanc. From the start, Breitling has been all about precision and technical excellence, especially when it comes to aviation and diving watches. Back in the mid-1900s, pilots loved the Navy timer. Here on the screen you can see some examples. It was loved for its unique chronograph functions, making it an iconic pick. Today, Breitling is still going strong, balancing its rich heritage with modern innovations. Since being taken over by CVC Capital Partners, that was in 2017. The head is now Georges Kern. And the brand has freshened things up with new collections and designs that still stay true to its roots. They've downsized, shrunk the thicknesses, also shrunk the amount of models they're coming out with, sticking more with conservative designs. The Super Avenger A13370 isn't shy. With its hefty stainless steel case, polished finish, and a 120 click unidirectional bezel, it's built for those who appreciate rugged sophistication. The oversized pushers are great for operating the chronograph, though keep this guy away from water. The 300-meter water resistance is more like a suggestion, it's not a promise. And there's been cases, there is actually a YouTube review with the owner stating that he was not even using the pushers. Well, you're not actually supposed to, even if these are screwed down pushers, and in this case they're not. It does state 300 meters water resistance, but apparently just with simple submersion and snorkeling, probably from these pushers, because the crown is this nicely knurled, screwed out crown, so that should be protected. But because the pushers are not for the chronograph the water resistance is questionable. The dial is classic Breitling, bold, busty, but somehow still easy to read. It's got everything you need and probably a few things you'll never use, like most watches in this class. Okay, let's talk dimensions. The case diameter is around 48 millimeters, depending on where you measure it, or slightly larger, but from here to here approximately 48 millimeters. Now the case thickness 18.6. I actually measured it about 18.4, but 18.6 is what is reported by Breitling. The lug to lug is 58 millimeters, and the lug width, in case you want to change up the straps, and we'll talk about the strap here shortly, is 24 millimeter. That's lug width. The weight of the watch without the strap or the bracelet, just the head, is 153 grams. Which is not that much considering all of the construction and the heft of the watch. These are, as you can see, screws along the side of the bezel. The bezel action, as you can hear here, very nice, very crisp bezel action, no playback, very defined clicks, very sturdy, nice bezel. Now, as you can see, the bezel does have the permanent line, the polished line, does not move. The surrounding is the bezel, and then we have these protruding four cross-shaped markers, and that is for your 15, 30 and 45 minute, as you can see. And the loom is only on the pip. Only the pip is loomed at 12 o'clock. It is easy to grip the bezel and move it around with gloves on if you grip by the exact points, these four sections. Otherwise, it does not have a knurling such as this watch, the coin bezel, for example, which you can grip anywhere, or the Zilos example. Here we go. It's not a coin bezel, but uniformly easy to grip. I have started the timer function, so let me quickly go over through that. As you can see, the second hand, large second hand is moving. That usually is not moving unless you have clicked this pusher. That is your main second hand. This larger one usually stays by 12 o'clock to conserve power. And we're now about to switch at exactly 12 o'clock. It will also change the date here. You can, so to go back to the timer function, we can see there is minutes. So 30 minutes it times, and then 12 hours. So 12 hours and 30 minutes is the maximum amount that this Valjo 7750 movement with a 42-hour power reserve can provide. Now here it counts hours, here it counts minutes, up to 30 minutes. And sorry for the lost zoom. And this is your permanent seconds countdown. And both of these seconds hands hack if we move out the crown. So you can pause so stop the count. But the seconds hand obviously goes on because that is your main seconds count. You can continue, and obviously we can reset the watch, the count, I mean, sorry, but you do have to pause and then you reset beautifully exactly at 12 o'clock. So that's your Swiss precision Valjoux 7750 ETA movement. Okay, so as you can see, it's not a dainty watch. It has some serious wrist presence. Currently I'm wearing my G-Shock MTG B1000, which is the largest watch that I wear, and I will now show you the comparison of this Super Avenger. This is how it looks on my wrist. I do have an average wrist. The owner of the watch is much larger than me. He's 2 meters approximately. He's a big guy, and he did underline when we were discussing his watch preferences that he does prefer larger watches, and it's logical too, because it just is defined by your wrist size basically. This is how a small small watch, this is my wife's watch, this is how a small watch looks on my wrist. So something that I usually wear, my sweet spot is 40 millimeters up to a maximum of 14 millimeters in thickness, and I'm comfortable with that. I can wear it under a cuff, with a shirt, without, and it's quite comfortable. Whereas here you can see the obvious, so that is 14 millimeters, that is 18.6, and it simply dwarfs, that is 42 millimeters across the width, 48 millimeters without the crowns and the pushers, of course, and the obvious differences, right? And even with the G-Shock, I don't remember by heart the size of the G-Shock, but I think it is 14 or 15 millimeters in thickness, but I don't remember the size, dimension, how wide the watch is, but you can see the Breitling is significantly larger. Nicely polished. What I do want to point out is that the lugs, the design, even though the watch has a round head, they have thought of a flat side here instead of contouring around the watch, which makes it easier to switch up the bracelets if you want to go aftermarket, or leather straps or rubber straps, and that minimizes the gap in between if you're going again with non-proprietary or outside the brand aftermarket, and just looks better on your wrist when there's no the less gaps you have, the better, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, another thing I wanted to point out, Breitling does this often on their watches, whether it is on their, sometimes it's on the bezel, sometimes on the chapter ring around the dial, and often they do that on their casebacks. And if you can see here, yeah, you can, conversions of weight, liquid, and you see these lines that go over, above, cross, so you follow through. You've got kilograms, gallons UK, which is different from US gallon, and then we have liters, And so you can, and pounds LB, right? Never makes sense. LB, what does that have to do with pounds? But anyway, so you have these conversions. The leather strap is exceptional on the watch. It's not just another leather strap. The leather itself, quality-wise, is clearly, this is full grain leather, high quality, well treated, and both sides are very high quality. But what I also noticed is while here in this section it is quite pliable and easier to work with, on these sides it must have some sort of insert inside, because as you can see, it's not that, it's quite rigid, but it's not rigid in a bad way because it maintains an oval shape. It helps contour around the wrist, but very well thought out contrast stitching accentuates the dial, the rest of the details of the watch. So the and it has been used now for about, as the owner said, about 17 years. This watch they started making from 2001 or 2004. There's different claims actually from what I found. Now, price-wise, this powerhouse will set you back around $5,500, and about half of that if you go the pre-owned route. Either way, you're getting a serious hunk of steel for your money. Now, general pros and cons. Let's go with pros first. It is built like a tank. If you ignore the questionable water resistance, it has a commanding presence. People will notice that you're wearing this watch and that it's not a toy and it's a tool watch. It has excellent legibility, even if you're in a dark alley at midnight. We will do some lume comparisons here shortly. Reliable movement, it'll keep ticking no matter what, and it does have a versatile design. You can dress it up or down, but if your wrist can handle it, and it does have unquestionable heritage and prestige. You're not just wearing a watch, you're wearing history. The cons, it is big and heavy. Now you've been warned, but again, if you do have a large wrist, if you're a big person, then this is the way to go, because something thinner will just look funny. Something like that, for example. That just looks like a toy. Next to this, it does have somewhat of a limited versatility. It's not for formal occasions, because it's difficult to put it under a cuff. Again, almost 19 millimeters. Somewhat of an outdated movement, ETA 7750, but it is a trusty workhorse. It does have high maintenance costs. It is a Breitling, especially if you do service it with Breitling. It does have also a limited resale value. It's not going to appreciate like some other brands. It will actually depreciate. Lack of micro adjustments. Bracelet sizing is rather difficult if you go with stainless steel. Here are some of the examples where Breitling actually does make iconic and beautiful, absolutely beautiful bracelets, and you will immediately recognize, even if you do not look at the dial or the case shape, you can look at the bracelet and immediately recognize that it is a Breitling. Here are some of the examples of the stainless steel or metal in general bracelets that they make. Now, again, if you're looking for alternatives, something similar or something to compare to this type of watch, you can look from Breitling brand. You have the Breitling Avenger 2 chronograph. It is slightly smaller at 45 millimeters, but still packs a punch. And the Breitling Chronomat BO1, more of a dress watch, but with an in-house movement in the case. Again, this is an ETA. From other brands, you can look at the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean chronograph. It's a big dive watch with Omega's coaxial movement. Another good option is a Tag Heuer Carrera Caliber Heuer 01 for a modern skeletonized look. And we also have IWC Big Pilot's Watch, which is a classic designed with another in-house movement. So those are some good options. Now let's look at the loom, and what we will be comparing to is this is a $1,000 Casio. It does have loom. Again, this has Swiss Super Luminova. The Zelos, who is known to be one of the kings in the micro brand world, quite comparable, sometimes even better than Seiko's, and Seiko is a legend in loom. So let's compare these three, and here is a Proxima, with the exception of the dial and the hands. The rest is Proxima. Sorry, the dial actually is Proxima. The hands, I mean, is not Proxima. That's from Heimdallr. So let me turn down the lights. This is my UV flashlight. Works quite well. You can barely notice it. It's 365 when there is light around, but it does do its job. Very useful for charging up your loomed watches. So now, if we turn off all of the light, we can see, again, not surprising, Zelos, it's like a lantern. Then Proxima, very similar level of loom to Zelos. Let's see. And that's normal because this is for diving. These are tool watches for diving, and they do need good loom, even though we've seen plenty of watches priced way higher than these two that have much weaker loom. There is still some light coming from the screen of my laptop here, so this is not complete darkness, and you can see how much loom we have going on now. In the case of the Proxima, I put this watch together, so I installed the loomed date wheel as well, and you can see the 14th there, how well that shows. So I'm quite happy with that. And now Zelos unfortunately does not have date wheel that is loomed, but it does have that cool bicolor loom going on with that ring, blue loomed ring with the Super Luminova. Now, if we look at the Breitling, we see that the camera is having difficulty picking up that loom. It's a bit weaker. That's the G-Shock MTG. And let's bring back a Proxima, for example. No, it's picking that up because this is significantly more amount of light coming out of this watch. Then okay, now it can keep a focus. Now let's try if it can keep a focus on a Breitling, since we have the attention of the focus. Okay, now it can. And move it out and back. Yes. Okay. But you see there's no point in comparing. Now the Breitling also only has a 12 o'clock pip that is loomed right there, you can see. I've got my finger over it. And then obviously it has loomed indices, little round points around each hour, and the hands, including the seconds hand, are loomed. The quality obviously very nice, but it would have been very nice to see a bit more layers of loom applied to the watch. That way it would have been stronger and would have lasted a bit longer. Okay, now we can look at the microscope images and compare with. What will be interesting is to compare with, let's say, the G-Shock quality, which I was not impressed with a Zelos, a dive watch, mechanical, $500 watch. We can also look at the Omega DeVille. That's around $1,500 from Omega. So we will make a comparison between these four. We are starting here at the loom pip. We can already see slight scratching, but the milling seems to be done very well and precise. Nice lines. Brushing is pretty good on the surround area of the loom pip. So now we can move down towards the glass. That's the tip of the 12-hour marker on the bezel. So we just saw that second hand pass, the 12-hour marker, and that's the minute hand. Slight dust particles, a lot of dust particles. The watch has been serviced once, so it has been opened, as far as I know, by a certified mechanic though, so it's a bit disappointing to see this. Same here on the second hand. Now let's try to zoom into some of the sub-dials that have beautiful texturing and contrasts. So it will be interesting to see. And we see here very high quality, precise printing, as well as milling, and as you can see here, it is one piece, this sub-dial is just milled into these round lines, vertical lines, and then we have some nice crisp printing on top of that. In both white and red colors, it is executed flawlessly. Here is our 12 o'clock, no, that's 11 actually. These indices are doubled, so I was confused. That is the 12 o'clock. in this index that has loom in the middle as well. And move down to this subdial at 6 o'clock. Same here, same division in the middle. We have this hour hand, and that counts down 12 hours. Beautiful execution again, very crisp, nice printing, automatic. Yeah, not many blemishes, with the exception of just some of this dust and just a little bit of scratching. But in terms of the execution from factory, it seems quite good. Very good. Quick comparison with the Omega DeVille. That is the minute hand, which again I'll have to zoom in to show the edges are so crisp, as you can see. Very nice. But there are micro scratches along those edges, and there is then this, that's the butt of the end of the second hand, and that's factory. This watch has never been opened or serviced, so this is how it came from the factory. But look at the crispness of the print, pretty nice. The dial itself also has very fine brushing, texturing, as you can see. Very fine, tiny little particles, but yeah. And the Omega sign, here we go, again very crisp. And then we have this hair particle on the G, and that's not okay. But again, this is factory Omega, never opened. Yep, there we go. $1,500 watch. And here we can have a look at the Zelos titanium swordfish, 40 millimeters. This is the cutout on the sandwich 12-hour index. It is a sandwich dial, and then the milling. Let's look at the milling. So again, we see it's done beautifully. This is the Zelos logo. This is a blue dial. And here we're looking at the hand. And that is the minute hand. And we just had the second hand pass. So let's see look at the lines and the crispness on the loom. Very distinct lines, and as you saw on the loom section, Zelos has exceptional loom. There is slight misalignment on the brushing. This is barely visible without the microscope, with the naked eye, but if you can notice here, the right and left corners are not proportionally done the same way, you see. But otherwise, this hand is executed quite nicely. And then if we look down on the hour hand, let's see if we can catch the lines here. uh, kind of the same story. Yeah, and look at the left and the right corners and you can see difference. So it's interesting to have this level of magnification. And that's the date window, again on the Zillow Swordfish. Almost the same age watch as the Breitling, by the way. Very nice cutout. There is no window frame on the cutout for the date window, but nonetheless very beautiful. Again, the sandwich loom underneath, this beautiful textured sunburst milled dial, very beautiful. As you can see, the second sign just passed the 12 o'clock marker, the index, and that is the Proxima. It has this beautiful wave pattern milled on the dial, painted blue. Try to zoom in a bit more on the milling section. Here we go. Very well done. Now the Proxima branding is milled and printed. The milling is again pretty much immaculate. Printing could do a bit better, but this is absolutely fine, and it looks just perfect on with your naked eye. This is only visible through the microscope, these tiny blemishes, and that is the paint, the red paint, and the loom application on the second sand, which again is done beautifully and better than the Omega Devil that we looked at earlier. That's the tip, or again done much cleaner than on the Omega. And this is a $15 handset that I got off of AliExpress, by the way. There we go. And printing seems to be very good and consistent here as well. Indices are done beautifully, and the loom quality and application quantity, everything seems to fit the bill and the purpose of the watch, which again is a dive watch. So on the Breitling again, I wanted to show you some of the scratching on that. By the way, is the texture of the leather skin, the leather strap, I meant to say, not skin, but it is skin, right? Now if we look at this here bezel, look at that level of scratching. That is not visible with the naked eye. You mostly see brushed, polished finishing. So that would be brushed, vertical brushing, which is, by the way, done again quite well. Here we go. The milling is crisp, clean, the brushing uniform. Everything is well done. And so is the polishing on the watch. But just to see, this is use, 17, 18 years of use. And that's the level of history and personality that an individual gives to a watch. He will probably remember most of the times that he banged it against something. Hopefully good memories and having fun. But yeah, it's not necessarily a good feeling when you do significant damage. Little scratches here and there give it character, but you don't want to bend up your watch, obviously. But yeah, I mean, these look horrible on a microscope, but they're barely visible and obviously never hinder the functionality of the watch. The bezel works just fine. These are just miniature microscopic, literally microscopic scratches. We're again magnifying to approximately 1000 to 1200 times. So that's why we're able to see these damages. But yeah, here I'll zoom out and show you. So here you can see that ring, the permanent ring where the sapphire glass sits in. That's actually the part of the case and that does not rotate as you move the bezel, right? So that's where you press in the glass, the sapphire crystal, I should specify. But this shines, right? That's a fully polished section, but you get down with the microscope and you see the actual level of scratching. That would apply anywhere here if we looked at it through the microscope. But you can also see these scratches. They're just like canyons if you look at it through significant magnification. But it is originally a beautifully polished case. And then I guess it would be sunburst because it is going out all directions, brushing on the bezel. And again, beautiful action on the bezel, very defined clicks. So yes, if you're a person that can fit large watches, and mostly that is if you are a tall, large person with a big size wrist, this is a very, very compelling option. So thank you for watching the video. If you like the content, please again subscribe. Click that notification button so that you're notified when we upload new videos, as there will be more content, similar content on watches, knives, EDC. We now have this microscope that does beautiful magnification. So again, the watches that I do receive, I will put under the microscope, pretty much all of them. So yeah, thank you. Cheers.